mater, you always remember that the dura mater is part of the meninges. Okay, the meninges has 3 layers: the dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater, diba? The dura mater is so called dura kasi dura means in Latin what? Tough or hard, right? So it's really tough. When you look at it, it's really tough. Tapos yung arachnoid, then yung pia. Arachnoid is arachnoid kasi mukha siyang web. Spider, not the spider, but the
Spider web.
Spider web, arachnid. Okay? Ano pa ba? The dura mater, what did I not share? The dura mater, the blood supply of the dura mater comes from the meningeal arteries. One anterior, 2 middle, then one more posterior. But majority comes from the middle meningeal artery, which is actually this one. That's the middle. That's the big one. So remember, 3 arteries: posterior, anterior, and middle. The biggest one is the middle. That artery passes through what portion of your skull? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct. You're correct. So it goes that way. Comes from there. There. What's that?
Spinosum.
Bali.
Spinosum. Spinosum. Hindi nyo inaral yung neuroanatomy. Madaya kayo. Spinosum. That's the middle meningeal artery. So when I break your skull like that, then you see the bone, the artery passes there. See? Artery part of the wall of the artery is actually inside the bone. So when you crack it, you also crack the vessel wall. And you have epidural hematoma. You have blood outside the dura mater. Dura, layers, blood supply, nerve supply. Ano, hindi ko na-share sa kanila yun. Nerve supply. Anong nerve supply? Kasi kayong last eh. Hindi naman last eh. Anong oras na ba?
Quarter, Doc.
O sige, assignment. Assignment, what is the nerve supply of your dura mater? Meron yun. So, 3. Anterior, middle, at posterior. Merong pangalan yun. No? What's that? Yes. Hi! Hi. Hi! Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Lapit mo yun, bro. Pwede bang upuan yan? Upo mo yun. Upo kayo, tapos sila tatayo. Sige na. Pero next week, aralin natin ulit to, ha?
Yes, Doc.
Pag ganito naman kayo, kasi siya, hindi nga makinig. So, I just told them that the dura mater is useless. The dura mater, meninges, dura, arachnoid, pia mater. Dura means tough or hard. Hard matter, like this one, see, it's really hard. Harder than our faces. It covers the cerebral cortex, the cerebellum, also covers the spinal cord. There are 2 layers of the dura mater: meningeal layer inside, the brain side, and then the periosteal side on the bone side. Easy to remember: periosteal bone side, periosteal bone. Yo. There is a layer between those 2 layers. What is the layer that becomes the dura mater of the spinal cord? Assignment. 50%, 50% chance. Oh, bahala kayo. Assignment.
Ako, yung inner.
Ganun. Oh, ang pangalan.
Oo talaga, Doc. Master in public health.
Okay? So, dura mater, arachnoid. Then, the dura mater has a blood supply. The main blood supply is the meningeal arteries. There's an anterior, middle, tsaka posterior. The main one is the middle, which is actually this one. That's the middle meningeal artery, which passes through the ang galing naman ninyo. Grabe. Okay. Foramen spinosum. Okay. Then, nerve supply. Please read nerve supply. 2 things to read: nerve supply, tsaka yung layer of the dura that becomes the dura mater of the spinal cord. So then, the dura mater, there are 2 layers: meningeal, periosteal, meningeal layer. At midline, it meets up, and then the meningeal separates. So it separates like this. So when this one is the periosteal layer, this one is the meningeal layer, it separates. Diba? Hindi sila buo. Separates. And so the opposite one is like this. There's a triangular shaped canal That canal is in the midline, which is, I don't know, it's here. Anyway, it should be there. And it creates the superior sagittal sinus. The superior sagittal sinus is that space where they separate. It's just a space, but blood goes through there. And it's unoxygenated blood. It is not a true vein. We call it sinus, but it's not a true vein because true veins have valves. This one has no valves. That's the one that makes it different from the veins of your ankle, your foot, your back, your nose. Okay? And that sinus is created. That sinus is created superior sagittal sinus, and then posteriorly, you also have a fold where there is a sinus, the dura separated. You understand? So it's separated, so it created a fold inside here. So dito, yung fold niya sa gitna is the falx cerebri, separating the left from the right brain. So dito naman, once it creates a fold inside, cerebrum tsaka cerebellum. That one is called the tentorium cerebelli. This one is the falx cerebri. Tentorium cerebelli. Dito rin, meron in children, you have a sinus here, the occipital sinus. So that means there's also a fold there. And you call it falx cerebelli. Partially separates the two cerebellar hemispheres. And when you look at this half, very nice dura mater, see, we remove the other half. This one is the right side. This one contains your frontal cortex, parietal, occipital cortex here. Then this one is your tentorium cerebelli, falx cerebri. Yay? This one is tentorium cerebelli. This is the falx cerebelli, small one. This is the pocket for your cerebellum on the right side. Nice, right? Then this one, I didn't create this one. Jesus did. See, if you make another part, then you create a letter U. Diba? Yeah? Yeah. Kasi. So, like this. So, this one is superior sagittal sinus. Can you hold this one? This is superior sagittal sinus here. This is frontal. This is occipital. Frontal back. Frontal. See the shape? Bigger here, smaller here. Looks like a scythe. Yung, alam mo yung flag ng Russia? Scythe. Di ba tawag doon? Scythe. Kumpay sa Ilocano. Kumpay. Hindi kampay. Kampay. Ano mo yung kampay? Kampay. Kampay. Kumpay. Pang putol ng grass. Right? So it's wider on the back, thinner on the front. If the superior sagittal sinus is here, there's a sinus here, the inferior sagittal sinus on the edge of the sinus of the falx. That's the inferior sagittal sinus. And then where this falx meet up with to become the tentorium cerebelli, there's also a sinus there, syempre. Kasi ganyan, ano? Tapos magse-separate siya. So once it separates, there's a space. And that space, small space, is for the straight sinus. So inferior sagittal sinus, straight sinus, then the straight sinus drains blood into the confluence of sinuses. And the confluence of sinuses is that one. This one. Okay? Confluence of sinuses is here. So, superior, transverse, occipital, and straight sinus go here. So, this one is a relatively bloody area marked by what structure in your bone? Very good. And then,
Kumaya lang ako.
tentorium. And then you create the other half. Then you have another tentorium cerebelli here, right? And then there's a letter U. Here's your skull. Give me your skull. So that one. So the tentorium tentorium cerebelli. This one is here, and there's a U dyan. Gets? Can you get the dura there? So they can see. Yung nandun sa cabinet, yung kulay
Blue.
sa taas ng
Blue and white.
So the tentorium cerebelli is here. Gets? Okay. And then there's a space there for the brainstem. Okay, tapos na tayo. Tapos na kami.
Sorry.
So, that one is like this, oh. Ganun. This is DURA, not the skull, but it is shaped on your skull. So, when you make this one, you shape it from this. This one is on top of the petrous bone. This one is on the sphenoid ridge, correct? Because this dura mater is attached to your crista galli, anterior clinoid process, crista galli here, anterior clinoid process here, petrous bone here. Yup. And this one, the tentorium cerebelli, attaches to the dorsum cellae. This one has may pakpak na ganun. Nakadikit doon. Ito nakadikit doon. But there's a space here. And you call that one the tentorial notch because the brainstem is here. Tentorial notch. So when something happens inside your brain, the brain is there. The hematoma is on top of the dura mater. The dura mater shifts. Correct? The brainstem does not move. The dura moves. And then if there's a hematoma, you don't do anything. The hematoma enlarges, presses on the brainstem here. The brainstem is pushed down to the foramen magnum. Your life is in the medulla. Brainstem, midbrain, pons, medulla. The medulla is in the foramen magnum. Your breathing center and your cardiac center is there in the medulla. So that when it is pressed against the bone on the foramen magnum, you're dead. You're going to heaven or hell. Okay? That's the importance of having this notch. It is very important kasi when we say there are signs of brain herniation. One of the herniation sites is the hiatus or the tentorial notch. This is the edge. You call it tentorial notch, tentorial edge. Or when you herniate, because the brain goes to this space because there's nowhere else to go. The brain is here, something presses on it, has nowhere else to go except this hole towards the foramen magnum. There are many structures here that when you compress it, it will show clinically in your patient. So you know that the patient is in herniation. If you don't do anything, he is doomed to go. Yeah, that's the importance of this hiatus because there are many structures there that are compressed during herniation syndromes when patient is starting to die from brain problems, stroke, hemorrhage, or trauma. Yun. Questions? Just a few things to remember, and the few things are actually on the question side, on the last page. There are questions there that you should answer. You don't have to wait for the lecture because you might not understand the lecture. It's better to learn when you read on your own going.
Ay, Doc, saan ba na nag-drain lahat ng sinuses?
Superior, you mean this one? Superior sagittal sinus?
Yes, Doc.
All the veins, all the blood drains, all the blood in your brain drain into the sinuses. Superior sagittal sinus, inferior sagittal sinus, straight sinus, transverse sinus. But majority goes to the superior sagittal sinus, drains into the transverse sinus, then to the sigmoid sinus, then to your internal jugular vein, then to your heart.
Thank you, Doc.
Same with the CSF. Diba CSF comes from blood. Choroid plexus is capillary bed. Creates a CSF, goes around the CSF pathway, ends up in the arachnoid granulations. This one, that one. Those are the arachnoid granulations. Inside the arachnoid granulations, you have villi that absorb the CSF back into the sinus.
Sir, lahat po ng sinuses sa brain walang valve.
Yeah, kasi yun lang ang sinus. Yung sinuses, yeah.
Lahat sila sa
Yeah, yung superior, inferior, straight. Yeah. Marami pang sinus. Like this one are also sinuses. These are sphenoparietal sinus. This would be cavernous sinus, petrosal sinus. Smaller ones. Smaller venous pathways. Yeah, this one. Pero ito may mga pangalan pa yan. So this one is not really correct. But this one is good kasi it's hard. But it is not correct kasi the sinus, you see, they depicted the sinus inside the dura mater. But it is actually inside the fold of the dura mater, right? So don't follow this one. It's wrong. But it's nice. But it's wrong. kung gusto niyo gumawa kayo ng half na ganyan, it's better. You can use the, di ba may skull na half skull? You can use that one. I think it will be better because all the skulls, all the DURA were created like this. Why don't you make the DURA half?